So now that we have this kind of board being procedurally generated, let's talk about how to make stuff happen when the squares are clicked. It's because we can't really play the game if we can't click on anything, right? Okay, so this goes into um, in a setting what are called click handlers in React. And it's a little different from how you do in jQuery, but it's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of setting props in a certain way and getting them too as well. So what we're going to do is go over to the square, and you can see I've set a prop called onClick to props.click square. Okay. Um, Now, unlike the other props we've been setting, like key or not key, but like square and board and all of that stuff, onClick is actually included in React. React gives you these event handlers that you can set as props and do what you need to where you need it. Now I could do in here, I could just do like console.log hello. Okay, and if we go to the browser and look, see, so I mean it's already working, um, and the event is firing, so that's good. I can also console log some of the props I passed in. That is the props that I set on the square component in the board. So I can, well, that's no good. What kind of props? I forgot which props I set on here. Yeah, so actually what I want is square. See, I don't have a row property, but I do have a square property. So I can go back to the square and just call props.square and wait for it to re-render. Okay. And that's not very useful either, but at least it's undefined. It's not undefined anymore, right? What else could we do? We could say like, oh, I know why that is. It's because the square is actually the contents coming from the array. So like if I click on this one, it's x because the index at that point in the array has the string x in it, right? Okay. So real quick before I forget, before I was setting row on this div here, like so. And then when I went into the browser, got an error in the console. Unknown prop row on div tag. Remove this prop from the element. So this has to do with unknown props. We can go look at it, see what it's all about. But basically, yeah, if you attempt to render a DOM element with a prop that is not recognized as a legal DOM attribute or property. So like div, is a DOM element, and in the HTML5 spec, like there's no such thing as an attribute called row. Okay? And React doesn't like that. What we do instead, we just put it on each square. Right? And that kind of makes sense because like we will later want to have access to this row here so that we can make it easier for us to like basically target the square that's getting clicked on when the game is being played. So I do that, I save the file, I go back, the error's gone, and just for good measure I can go in here and check that it is rendering, just with that little example I made, and wait for it to re-render again. There we go. See? There's that row. There's that row. There's the empty row. Pretty cool. So the same way that you can pass props down like we've been doing, you can also kind of let them bubble up. And what I mean by that is if you make a reference to a prop that is set like one level up, so like if square makes reference to a prop that's in board, we can kind of like move stuff back up. You know, props don't just have to move down, they can go back up too. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to just set on click to what it was before I made that example. I'm going to say on click equals props dot handle click. Okay? And maybe you're thinking like, well, I haven't set that prop yet, so what good is that going to do me? Well, if I go in here, I can say, okay, so I want a prop called handle click, and for right now, I just want it to do exactly what we did a second ago. I just want to look at the square or something, or the row from up here. You know what I mean? So let's look at that. And if we go back, let it reload, see? Okay, so let's talk about this. Obviously the square is like before, it's the value that's held in that point in the array that we're mapping over to produce all of these components. But in here, in square.js, onClick is just referencing handle click. So you think onClick is just kind of circling back to a prop that's been set on the square element. And if we look at board, you think like, what's the value of handle click? Well, it is a anonymous function that just returns console log square. And that's how we get this result. That's how like we maintain this functionality, okay? So the thing is, like, we can use this handle click to do stuff inside of board, you know what I mean? But we want to like we want this functionality to affect some data that is actually still one level up in app.js. So like the data that is being used to create the values in this TicTacToe board is not in this file. You know what I mean? It's not at this component level. So that means we need to bubble it up one more time. Okay? So same thing. I want to set that to props.handle click. And this could be like handle board click. Maybe I'll say it's that for right now, right? Just to keep things a little less confusing. All right. Now we just go to app.js where we're calling the board, right? And we say handle board click equals, and I'm going to do the same thing one more time, you know, console.log, and then I just want to log like maybe board. Okay? All right. So let's look at that, make sure we don't have any errors, right? And there we go. See? Console.log, and here's the board, right? Okay. So just to quickly recap before we take a break, and then we'll come back and see about making this thing actually work a little more. We kind of worked backwards this time. I actually started at the bottom and then worked my way up through the components. So I could, like I said, you can just write an anonymous function in here and have it do what you want. or you can reference the prop that is being passed to square. I know it's a little weird because you can't, like I haven't set it on here anywhere, but again, this trick is akin to calling props, not setting them. You know what I mean? Just like I'm calling props.square here to get the value of the square right there, right? So once we did that, we moved one level up. We did the same thing. We set the handle click prop here, and then we referenced another prop yet another level up. Okay, and then we went into app.js, and in here we set the prop once again, and then we did something with it. Okay, we set it to the this function. You know what I mean? So get that going in your version. And one more thing, I'm forgetting, since I'm not. This isn't a Git repository. I haven't been doing it, but in between each of these videos and each of these refactoring steps, I would normally be committing my work, and so please do that between each video so you can maintain like a clear track record between along the trajectory of your app. Okay. All right. So when we come back, we'll take a look at how to make these spaces populate with X's or O's.